Alright guys, so originally I was going to wait a couple more weeks before I did the unboxing and analysis of this reel right here, but since it took nearly 1 month from the time I ordered this to the time it actually got to my house, I'm a little impatient and I really want to see what this reel is all about. And a lot of you guys already know what this is. It is the Fishband, or Fishband. I don't know if that's a new brand or what, but it is the PW100, and I guess PW stands for power wind or wind or whatever. So when I saw this reel on Aliexpress, and you get a lot of paperwork actually, but when I saw this reel on Aliexpress, it looked to me like it was just a repainted SHIMANO XF50 with probably what is the pretty much the same spool as the Spirit Fox. You can actually get a little bag, no badging on it. But yeah, it looked to be just, you know, a repainted SHIMANO XF50 with a different colored Spirit Fox spool on it. So I was like, well, you know, that's just another XF50 with the Spirit Fox spool. But there was one specification on this thing that really stood out, and plus the fact that this was only about $55, that I immediately pulled the trigger, and here it is. So yep, I was correct. It looks pretty much like the XF50 Spirit Fox. It's a little bit of variation to it, but it looks like they're using the same frame and body, or at least the same style frame and body. And let you guys take a good look at this thing. But yep, this is yet another bait finesse reel out of China. And yes, I know I have quite a few of them already. Alright, so let me analyze this thing and I'll get back to you. So it was actually a pretty quick inspection, but during that inspection I've come to realize that the PW100 is actually not a combination of the Spirit Fox and the XF50, but it's actually a combination of the Spirit Fox and the GH100. So let's go over the similarities with the GH100. First of all, let's compare the size. The GH100 is a little bit bigger, and it will sit a little bit higher on the reel seat. But as you can see, they have very, very similar color schemes. Now the PW100, you can see that the hue of its silver is a little bit lighter in my opinion. It looks more blue than gray versus the GH100. But they both have gold accents all over the place. And they're both sporting EVA foam knobs. But that's pretty much where the similarity ends with the GH100. So I'm going to put this off to the side. And one thing about this PW100, they put a lot of writing or badging on it. You can see on the carbon fiber handle, it's got like a Fishband right there, I believe, and it's also on the other arm. It's got some kind of writing here. I think it's power wind. It's hard to read. But yeah, this reel has logos all over the place. But let's talk about these similarities between this and the Spirit Fox. And these two reels are probably 90% the same. They're using pretty much the same frame and tooling. As you can see, they're using the same thumb bar. The screws for the body are in the exact same place. There's one right there, and there's one right there. Same on the Spirit Fox. There's one right there, there, and there. They both have 85mm swept carbon handles. They both have the same piece of plastic trim on the handle side plate. They both sport a 6.6:1 gear ratio. Of course, the PW100 also has a 6.6:1. And they both have the precision spool tension clicker. So they are both the same in that respect. Now there are some differences other than color, and I think the PW100 actually looks better. So if you look at the top of the frame, they put this little channel here, I guess to rest your thumb a little bit better. And you can see they flattened off the front part of the reel, while with the Spirit Fox it's pointed. And also, I think this is a major improvement. They've kind of concaved in or scalloped in the side plates of the PW100. Hopefully you guys can see that. But they're kind of concaved in, and it gives it a lot more angles when you look at it. Especially when the light hits it in a certain way, you can see more contours on the reel, which I think looks better. While the Spirit Fox, it doesn't really have those concaved in, scalloped side plates. And of course the Spirit Fox has got this area here ported out. But other than that, I'm pretty sure they have the exact same spools except for the color, and the Spirit Fox has this little line going through the middle. So, you know, you're probably thinking, why in the hell did I just buy a reel that's pretty much the same as the Spirit Fox? And I did not buy this reel just because it was a brand new Bay Finesse reel from China. I actually bought this reel for one reason and one reason only. And let's talk about that now. So the only reason why I bought the PW100 was because of one thing: the weight. Now, when looking at the specs of this reel on Aliexpress, Fishband stated that this reel only weighed 138 grams. So let's see if that's true. So of course I brought the scale out, and it weighs 138 grams. So if you're wondering why that's such a big deal, let me change this over to ounces. 138 grams equals 4.8 ounces. Now the Spirit Fox was already ultra lightweight as well, coming in at 5.6 ounces, as well as the GH100 also came in at a really ultralight 5.6 ounces. So this PW100 somehow almost took a whole ounce of weight off of it, and that's pretty incredible. And you're probably wondering, why is 4.8 ounces a big deal for this reel? And I'll show you why. So to show you the significance of a reel being under 5 ounces, I only know of 2 companies right now that have confirmed reels that weigh under 5 ounces, and that's SHIMANO and GARCIA. And I happen to own a few of those reels. So right here we have the ALDEBARAN 30 MGL. This weighs in at 4.8 ounces. So virtually the same as the PW100. You got your ALDEBARAN 50 at 4.7 ounces. It's one of my favorite reels of all time. You got your ALDEBARAN Bay Finesse coming in at 4.5 ounces. Now this has a aftermarket lightweight spool. And then you got your GARCIA REVO LTX BF8 coming in at 4.6 ounces. And I do believe the Abu Garcia REVO MG Extreme is virtually the same reel as this, minus the shallow spool, and I think it weighs in at 4.5 ounces. So what is the big deal? The big deal is that this is a $420 reel. This was a $420 reel. This is a $300+ reel. This is a $300+ reel. And the Abu Garcia REVO MG Extreme retails for $500. But this PW100 ranges anywhere from $53 to $55. So once again, China is putting the heat on these mainstream manufacturers, giving you something that the big companies charge you an arm and a leg for a fraction of the cost. So pretty much anyone now can buy a reel that's under 5 ounces because of the PW100. So that's pretty amazing, and that's the only reason why I bought the PW100. So as you can see, I did not forget about this spool. Now, Fishband says it weighs 9.3 grams, so virtually the same as the Spirit Fox. So pretty much almost 9.4 grams. So the Spirit Fox should weigh the same. Well, actually it's heavier, almost 9.5 grams. So this actually has a slightly lighter spool by 1/10 of a gram. So I'm wondering if it's going to weigh the same without the bearing. So of course, to satisfy everyone's curiosity, I'm going to remove the bearing on this PW100, but let's take a look at it first. Now, this is a good looking spool. I believe it's 34 millimeter, same size as the Spirit Fox, but it's got this bronzish root beer color, but they kept this metal plate here black. It's got some writing on it. I think that's the line capacity. So that looks cool. I like the contrast there. As you can see, it's got the long spool shaft that's made of aluminum, and the depth is the same. So I'm pretty sure these are 99.9% the same spool, minus this little ridge going through the center of the Spirit Fox spool. So let's take this bearing off and see what it weighs. Okay, so the spool bearing is removed, and if I remember correctly, the spool on the Spirit Fox without the bearing was a super stunningly lightweight 7.8 grams. So let's see what this weighs. 7.8 grams, so virtually the same. So I'm not sure where that extra 1/10 of a gram came from, but this right here could be the ultimate budget bait finesse reel out of China now, due to that weight loss. So of course, having a super lightweight spool is going to be useless in bait finesse if you have shit brakes. So it comes as no surprise, it looks like the PW100 has the exact same brakes as the Spirit Fox, the standard mag track style brakes with 6 brake magnets. So hopefully they're just as strong. And in case you were wondering, yes, the spools are completely interchangeable with each other, and the side plates are interchangeable for the most part. And as far as the brake settings go, the PW100 has the same amount of brake settings, a total of 24. But I wish they would have given this dial a different color, because the numbers are hard to see, and it kind of would have set the reel off a little bit more, in my opinion. Now, one thing that's got me really puzzled is how did they manage to lose so much weight on this reel versus a reel that is 90% or 95% the same. Now, the Spirit Fox is already super ultra light, And to shave off almost an entire ounce off of a already lightweight reel is no small task. Now, of course, these reels they claim are both made of carbon, and I take that with a grain of salt. Any reel that claims to be carbon coming from AliExpress, I kind of question what their version of carbon is. But I will say that the PW100 has 2 less bearings, it appears. It has 6+1 bearings, while the Spirit Fox has, I believe, 8+1 bearings for a total of 9. But even those 2 bearings are not going to make up, you know, almost 1 ounce. Now, I thought it could be the knobs, but these knobs are very lightweight. They're not heavy and clunky like the XF50. So, in my opinion, the only way they could have really lost that much weight is probably the main gear. So maybe the main gear on the Spirit Fox is brass, while the PW100 may have an aluminum main gear, but it feels smooth just like the Spirit Fox before I degrease the bearings. But yeah, let's go over a couple other things. The line guide is supposed to be ceramic, and also the thumb bar is better made, meaning that it doesn't feel as hollow and fragile as the Spirit Fox. So when I press it, there's no give or hollow feeling. There's no feeling that it will fail after a certain amount of time like I get with the Spirit Fox. So there's some manufacturing tolerance differences right there, but that's to be expected from reels that are this cheap. Alright, so there we go, the Fishband PW100, a reel that could be your first ever reel that weighs under 5 ounces. Now, I don't plan on doing a separate casting video for this reel, as I expect it's going to cast exactly the same as the Spirit Fox, which is a good thing. But I do have a new budget bait finesse rod that has just come in that I think a lot of you guys will like. So I'm going to mount this on that rod and take it fishing this weekend and see what's what. So if we see any kind of breaking anomalies, they will definitely show up when I go fishing. There we go, guys. The 4.8 ounce $55 Fishband PW100. Alright guys, thanks a lot.